Welcome. Thank you very much for joining the Men Let's Chop It Up podcast. I'm your host, Double D. I appreciate you tapping in. I appreciate you coming to listen to some good information. I have a wonderful guest today joining us, a good friend of mine. I met him probably 10 years ago physically, but we share the same kindred spirit. We're both Panthers, Southwest DeKalb all day long. But this guy, this is somebody I've been wanting to talk to for a minute, just sit down and have a conversation with. Very smart individual, just a good, solid brother. But let me introduce you to Evan Richardson. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming.
Man, thanks so much for having me, man.
Pull that mic up to you a little bit.
Okay, I got you. I can dip down a little bit. Evan Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Yes, sir.
Jefferson.
Richmond is in the middle name.
I don't know why I got that Jefferson. That's probably what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But man, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Tell us where you're from, you know, what you do. And after you do that, I always ask my guests, one of my opening guest questions will be, what does it mean to be a man to you?
Yeah, so Evan Jefferson, I am a certified global financial educator. Been educating the community about money for over 20 years with a concentration in investing. I'm an international best-selling author of a book called The Black Billionaires Club. Again, that's a study of money, study of Black wealth. I've also run a couple investment clubs for the urban community. And lately, I've been diving into a very similar space as you. So I've been running brotherhoods or men's spaces for masculinity and manhood.
That's right.
So I'm an entrepreneur, an educator, and an investor, if I was to kind of sum it up.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. And what does it mean to be a man to you?
Yeah, you sent this question over, and that answer has evolved over time.
Yeah, so man.
At this point, I would say, to me, a man is nothing more than a human who has different traits. But when I think about those different traits, I look at a man obviously being stronger. So I would say a man should be strong. Not just physically, but that's important as well.
That's right.
But mentally, spiritually, emotionally strong.
Okay.
With those differences, I would say a man is a leader. He was the first one, and then they made the woman, if that's what you believe. So right. I would say he should be a leader.
Okay.
And then there's a different characteristics, but those are the two main: a strong leader. A warrior is another word I was thinking of.
Okay.
You need to be able to defend yourself, your position, your household, your family. Yeah. When it comes down to it. So I would say that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with all those things. And for me, I'm like you, it's more of a fluid term for me. Like it's ever evolving because men have to evolve, right? And it doesn't really matter what we do, what we're trying to accomplish, whatever, we have to be, we're always evolving because times are always changing around us. And based upon the way times are changing, we have to adjust to make sure our families and our friends and, you know, our loved ones can cope with the society. Now, this is a very male chauvinistic term that I'm about to use, but I honestly believe it's a man's world, right? Men build streets. James Brown said it himself. Man built the car, you know, but that doesn't mean it takes away any significance from a woman. Like, we actually need women in our lives in order to balance us out. But I asked that question because the whole premises behind this podcast is, like, I'm more interested in uplifting and building men, right? And you're one of the men that I value a lot. Like, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about politics, and it was one of the reasons why I could appreciate the conversation was because we had opposing opinions, right? We were both on two separate ends of the spectrum, but there was never any disrespect within the conversation, right? And I think that's important for men to be able to do, is have opposing opinions about things and lead a conversation with, all right, dog, I see where you stand and you see where I stand. And we can keep moving forward because even throughout that conversation, I got some nuggets from you. Like I got some things that I didn't necessarily think about along the way.
Yeah.
So I'm always and I'm forever evolving. I think that's important for a man to do. Like you can have your core principles and the characteristics of who you are, but I think you should always be evolving because information is fluid as well, so it gets better.
Yeah, the moment you stop listening is the moment you stop growing.
Right.
And that's a principle from the Bible. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry.
That's right.
Angry, but that's principles are not necessarily something that all men abide by.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah.
What are your principles? What are your morals? What do you stand on?
What are you living for? Like, what's your why? You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I'm with you on that. Like, and I think that may be the beginning. They may what became the beginning of how men begin to detract in this world too, because we lost our principles. Like principles, there weren't a lot of principles being established amongst men, right? So I would agree with that 100%, right? So let me ask you a question. So you live in the where you function in the financial space.
Yeah.
Right. Habitual entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Live by your own means.
Yeah.
You don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Yeah.
And I like it like that.
Yeah. But that's
I
man
go out
stuff.
there and get it.
That's man stuff.
I figure it out.
I agree with you 100%. That's man stuff. So how does your financial background define you as a man? Like, what about your financial education and all? You know, what are those things? How do those things define you as a man?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily just say financial education.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing as far as definition of me as a man is me deciding to go learn what I wanted to learn.
Okay.
So I look at it as self-education.
Okay.
It wasn't something, for me, it was more, it's like figuring it out. It's like, okay, I knew I was going to need money. I was going to have to handle money, manage money. I knew that by the time I got my first job. Didn't know much about it or whatever. Just I knew how to spend it.
Right.
I knew what I wanted to buy.
Right.
But as time goes by, I started to realize there were different aspects. You got to get your first house. You need credit and all this stuff. So a lot of these things, me being a black man, it's not necessarily something that's taught,
right,
or being shown. They do it. Our elders do it, but don't necessarily teach it. Yeah. So once I got that first job and I had to fill out that I-9 or whatever to do taxes and figure out, I said right then, okay, that's something I need to learn.
Yeah.
And I didn't let what I wasn't taught stop me from going and learning.
Okay.
So that's my first real decision to be like, I want to learn about money. Gotcha. And then once I learned about money, my gift is teaching. I decided I want to teach other people what I learned.
Okay.
And that's just how I live life. So that's the defining part for it is learning what I don't know and then willing to teach other people what I do know. Okay. And that would be how I would define it, you know?
Yeah.
A giver, a gatherer, and a giver.
Right.
Just, it's frustrating, though, because you want to give people a lot of stuff that they don't want to take.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell you. That's probably been one of the things that I struggle with as well, too, because I've understood over the last 15, 20 years of my life, like my gift, the gift God gave me is rallying people, getting people together, for one particular cause. So trust me, I understand exactly what you mean. I get it. So when was the last time you had a physical job? When you punched the clock for somebody?
Oh, COVID. So if you see me get a job, you should know something's wrong. Okay. So COVID happened, and my mom had some challenges during COVID.
Yeah.
That drew drew me into a tailspin mentally.
Yeah.
And
I remember you talking about
and
that.
the only thing I knew to do was I needed to go do something.
Yeah.
Because when you go down mentally,
so
everything kind of goes down.
So, and I'm gonna let you finish that thought, but there's something I want to point out. Like, you were in a position where the world was crumbling around you at the time, right? So, and I don't necessarily want to use the phrase "world's crumbling around you," but you was having some challenges. But your thought process was, "I got to do something."
Yeah, I got to do something.
I call those moments. Grown ass man moments, right? Where we just move forward. It's not necessarily the situation that's bogging you down. You just say to yourself, man, I just got to move forward. Like, I can't. There's too many people or too many things depending on me. So I got to do what I got to do. So yeah, I call that a grown ass man moment.
Yeah, grown ass man moment, come to Jesus moment, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I think being in a space where you can calculate the cost of your future cost of your current decisions.
Yeah.
When your back is against the wall, you got to do something.
Yeah. That's deep.
I mean, and talking about it, that gets you maybe to find some ideas.
Yeah, that's
but
deep.
You got to go do something.
That's deep. When you can calculate. Yeah. What you said, like when you can calculate the cost of
the
your
future
decision.
outcomes of your current decision.
Yeah, that's deep, bro.
Yeah, it's deep, and we all can do it. We just don't necessarily think and take. We see it. I mean, just in finance, if you keep spending more than you earn, you can calculate where you going, what you gonna sow, what you gonna reap. If you never go apply for the job, you can calculate whether you're gonna get the job.
Right.
I mean, so we do it, and we do it, but we don't necessarily really take it to that level of really looking at, okay, well, if I keep doing what I'm doing, what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And so one of my mentors just basically says, change is up to you. If you don't change, then the next 6 years you can predict to be just like the last 6 years.
Who you gonna be mad at if you don't change?
Yeah.
Be mad at the mirror, man. Yeah, be mad at the mirror. Yeah. That was a real judo. I'm gonna have to remember that one, man. We calculate our decisions. Yeah.
You can calculate your future outcomes based upon your current decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to remember that one. I'm gonna have to remember. So I'm just gonna run through a couple of these questions, man. I just want to pick your brain.
All right.
You're such an interesting man.
Thank you. I think that was a compliment.
Yeah, no, seriously, I'm dead serious. Like your name was on my list. When I decided to start this podcast, I was like, man, I got to talk to Evan for real, because we've had some of the brief conversations that we've had with one another. They've always been like, man, you need to be doing more. That's what you telling me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you would tell. Like, you need to be doing more. Like, you have a reach and you have, an influence. Like, you need to be doing more. And I don't know if the podcast is that doing more.
It is doing more.
Yeah.
But you even doubt that, tells me you still figured it out. That's cool. It is doing more. Like, this is what you're creating, and what you have created or creating, however you look at it, as you're into the space. You're in a space that's relevant now. We have a shift in the political climate to more manhood, where there's been more feminism.
Yeah.
Having a space for men to speak and give them some shine. It's a way of telling them that you're proud of them, even if you don't necessarily say it.
Yeah.
And that's something that many men need to hear.
Yeah.
This is doing more, and I can see this being an extension of your brand. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because of the conversations we've had over the years.
Right.
It's important to you, community. And then getting the brothers together.
Yeah.
Smoking some cigars.
Yeah, man.
That if it was something else, I'd tell you. But it's on brand. It makes sense. It's your next step.
Yeah. I appreciate that. But
it can reach the world.
And just you saying that, I'm with a still a little bit of doubt in there, that I'm still figuring it out. Like that just helped me right then too.
Good.
Right? Because I all I knew starting this podcast, I was like, you know what, man, I have a real passion for men at this point in my life. Right. And mainly because my daughters.
No, you just wanted to call you Big Papa.
No, not necessarily, but you know, I want my daughters to know what a man looks like. Right? My daughter's 19 and 22, right? And I want them to know what a man looks like. I want them to understand, you know, the role that I play in their own lives. So when the time comes for them, if they decide to get married or not, right? Because I'm not pushing that on them. Like they know what a provider, protector, and a security look like.
Yeah.
Right. And all three of those things are wrapped in love and compassion and nurturing. And you don't normally attach nurturing to men, but because I have my daughters and they live with me, I had to learn nurturing. Because if I don't, they're gonna get a whole bunch of man stuff.
Right.
Right? They're gonna get a whole bunch of hard aggression, you know, and that's not what a man wants from a woman. Men don't want aggressive women. Like They want soft women, right? So I kind of ventured off onto another.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I kind of ventured onto another path. But here's another one of the questions I wanted to ask you too. What role do you think money plays in a man's sense of identity or worth?
Oh, huge role.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge role. And it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say it's about the kind of money that you make.
Okay.
I think it has more to do with your management of those resources.
Okay.
And being seen as a good manager brings a sense of stability that comes from being viewed by the woman.
Right.
So being that, generally speaking, a woman or a mate or a partner is important for many men. And we identify men as being, you know, need to be the providers.
Right.
So many different things more than just money. The management of those resources, you know, and having the confidence from the woman knowing that she's going to be able to handle those resources and the finances well, that the lights won't be cut off, that that the cars will be taken care of, or whatever it is that you create in this world. Yeah. I think that's the security and stability that the woman or the prize is looking for. Right. In a mate, in a man. Okay. So it has really nothing to do with how much someone makes, and I think that's where the misconception is. Misconception is. Yeah. I've seen wealthy people still living paycheck to paycheck, and I've seen quote unquote lesser income people having a nest egg and their children going to college. Yeah. It really comes down to discipline and a rich man, poor man mentality. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Spend it all, flashing in the club, whatever, buying all. I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, you know, got to show what I got, you know, want people to see me, you know, not because I had low self-esteem, but, you know, that's just, we want people to know we got it. Well, it's the culture that we grew up in. It's not in every culture, but it's definitely been in our culture. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that answer, man. That was actually very fruitful because understanding that it's not about how much money you make, it's about how you govern over your money. Like, what are your governing principles over money? Right. So that make a lot of sense. I listen to a lot of I love Robert Kiyosaki. Okay. Yeah. I love his principles. He doesn't buy anything unless he can sell something. Yeah, that's an entrepreneur mentality. Yeah, I can flip it. Like I can see that. Yeah. So most of the stuff that I sell, if I don't sell it, I can use it. If I can't use it, I don't sell it. Yeah. Because if it gets stuck, I can use it. That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
But you know, so even that's the management of resources. See, although money is important, and some, Les Brown would say, or I think he got a quote from somewhere else that is right up there next to oxygen, it's still relatively invaluable.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? It's like if you put money on the top of the other things that's way more valuable, the things that are more valuable are things that money can't buy. Mm. But if you value money above those things, then you think you can buy those things with money. You can't buy love with money, but people try to.
Yeah.
But if you have love, it don't matter how much money.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So once we get our value systems accurate, as far as what's really valuable, what's not, you'll see how low on the totem pole money really is. Although society will make us believe that it's the top.
Yeah. Well, based upon the climate of today and how our political government is set up at this moment, they have turned money into the end-all, be-all thing.
Right. That's why you have to be careful.
Yeah. They've turned the guy currently occupying the White House, which I agree with on some things and I disagreed on a few things with. He has turned money into the supreme being.
Well, that's what he's known. He's a real estate tycoon. Yeah. But that's not the supreme. I think he's misunderstood.
You think so?
Yeah, because to me it's not. You can say money, but he is going after a brand. His brand, that name, is way more important than anything else. So you know what? If you start thinking about Hiltons and Rockefellers and Vanderbilts, that's what he wants his family name. It's about his family name.
You just changed.
No matter how outlandish it might seem to us, most of us are not fighting for our last name in that capacity.
You just changed my whole perspective on that.
How many of us want a street named after us?
Yeah. Like
Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Or, like, he's going after that Ford stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Walmart or Walton stuff.
Hey, Kyla. Excuse me, I know I'm right in the middle of the podcast, but I need to get my daughter. That was some real ghetto stuff.
Yeah, I was pretty ghetto. Well, you know, when you're from Decatur, what can you expect?
I mean, hey, man, all I can be is Decatur. That's it. That's all I can be. I'm sorry, that was Khalees. Can you bring me some tissue, please? Yeah, but you just changed my whole perspective on that dude. Like, it makes sense now. It makes perfectly good sense. Just hand it over. Thank you, sweetheart. There you go. I know your eyes were leaking a little bit.
AC don't do all that.
Oh, okay, yeah. You just changed my whole perspective on, or my thought process on who he is and what he's trying to accomplish. Like, yeah, he's trying to be a Rockefeller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wants his name, he wants his family to go down
in history.
Like, whatever. And just being the president is not enough.
Well, yeah.
The president is what's going to catapult him to that, but just being the president is not enough.
Yeah, but you got to think, he didn't really have to go try to become the president. This is president, I would believe, to him is just like, new challenge. You know what I mean? When you done scaled the heights in business, when you done built all the casino, hotel, whatever it is you want to do, you have any woman that you want. Think about maybe a Solomon from the Bible.
Yeah.
When you got everything that this world, society, private planes, so men typically need a challenge, and that was the next challenge that will keep him alive. Yeah. Whether you do it right or not is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Right.
A billionaire.
Yeah.
Yes. Y'all don't think I can do it? Okay. Let me show you.
Okay, all right.
But he was talking about it 10, 20 years before he did it. He was talking about it with Oprah back in the 80s. Like, well, I keep it open, but it's not really something I want to do. It's something I even think about. But do I really want to get into that crooked world?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you might have. I thought you.
I'm still thinking about it, bro. It's
Yeah.
the more you learn.
Yeah.
It's like once you get, you learn.
That's what I said when we talked last time.
Yeah.
I said the more you learn and the more you understand, the more you go. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's pretty
corrupt.
Yeah, man. And
all the way around.
I don't even think corrupt properly defines this.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a much better word than corrupt.
Yeah.
Corrupt for the layman people. Yeah. Yeah. Let me jump into a few more questions here. Have you ever struggled with your relationship with money, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, absolutely. I struggled with my relationship with money when I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I didn't value it. When I believe I can it can come and go, I'll just go get more.
Yeah.
That's when I struggle with it. And that puts you in the poverty land. That puts you in the not enough land. That puts you in the behind land. That puts you in the, chasing it land.
Yeah.
And what what I learned from it is the opposite. Don't make it as important as the world would want you to make it, because there's many more things that are important. So, learning maybe the spiritual laws of money helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I know that, where my energy goes, it flows. So as an entrepreneur, not necessarily knowing where that next paycheck is coming from, I have to be in faith.
You gotta put your boots on.
Yeah, I gotta go to work, but I have to have faith with works.
Right.
But I can go to work without faith and still not get anywhere. You know what I mean? It can be real slow. Like,
okay.
Like if I don't have faith, if I don't believe, I could make a couple sales. But if I have faith and works, I'll make quadruples.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the faith is going out before me, and I'm just meeting the moment with work.
So the sweat equity is the faith.
The sweat equity is the validation of my faith.
Okay.
In other words, like if I had a job and I went to work with a bad attitude, I still get paid the same.
Right.
If I go out to the world as an entrepreneur with a bad attitude, I'm gonna make less.
Yeah. You may not.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If my countenance isn't right, you see what I'm saying? So I just have learned like how my energy is attractive. It can be contagious, but it can also repel if I'm in the wrong state of mind, if I'm in the wrong space, if I'm not right with God, if I'm not right with people, whatever. Right? Because entrepreneurship is a relationship business, and that understanding relationship capital is way more than is the highest form of capital.
Yeah, it is.
Because you done turn me on to 2, 3, 4, 5 people that I would have never met, never known. Yeah. If I didn't have a good relationship with you, you'd believe in whatever it is that I did enough to tell them about me.
Yeah.
Because you would have told them about somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, and so understanding these higher levels of wealth, love, joy, all the fruits of the spirit, all of that stuff helps me to have a better appreciation for the minuscule value of money in my world. So then I would also say learning how to multiply money.
Okay.
That's a big thing. Like understanding that those things that it talks about in the Bible for me, you reap what you sow, and he gave the money to the parables of talents, and who came back with what, and they doubled it and quadrupled it. Well, if you go to church and you ain't doubling or quadrupling money,
what you going to church for?
I'm just saying, maybe you didn't learn that lesson.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like that's the real estate. What you going to church? Like if you understanding the principles of the Bible, if that's what you believe in, and you aren't doubling or quadrupling your life, what you going to church for?
Right.
Like that's the question.
Yeah. So it just taught me to place money in its proper value in my hierarchy of value in life.
Okay. So would it be fair to say money is not your priority?
No. Yeah, right. You're correct.
Yeah. Money isn't your priority.
Money is not my priority. It's a byproduct.
Cultivation of relationship?
My highest priority is wisdom. which allows me to manage life, manage resources, whatever, relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of my highest priorities. Yeah. It's hard to put that above love, but wisdom is more precious than rubies of gold. So I value it.
I think for me, I think love and wisdom can coincide.
Yeah,
like absolutely. I think they work well together. Mm-hmm. Right. The more wisdom you gain, the more understanding you should have for love. What love actually is, and not what the world or society has said what love is, especially from a man's aspect.
Right. Yeah, man's love and women's love ain't the same.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same at all.
Yeah, which is that's the reason why I believe the Bible tells you what love isn't. Love ain't this. Love is kind, it's not.
Corinthians 13, bro. Yeah, I'm with you.
But so in other words, you can figure it out. For yourself.
Yeah. So you can understand, but you're right. I mean, a man's love and a woman's love, they are completely different. But it's funny. They're different, but they're balanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's funny. How different they both are. But when they meet at the right mesh points, they're balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything in this world is order.
Yeah.
So it starts with you loving yourself, and then hopefully you love into the priorities or the principles in which you're guided by.
Yeah.
And that helps shape your relationships. And if it don't fit, you must have quit. So, I'm saying I can't make you love me the way that I want to be loved, right? So
not the OJ reference.
Hey, if you don't get it by now, you just don't get
it. Yeah. Especially at this part of our life, right? So I keep like the more and more I talk about, doing this podcast and getting it out to the world, I keep there's been this thirsty need for me, like, to talk about relationships as well too. Like, and I'm not doing that though. I'm not.
Well, it's just gonna come up in conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be a relationship advice guru. No, I'm not trying to be one of them people.
Yeah, I got you. No, don't do that.
There's enough of them jokers on the internet right now.
Yeah, right? If you focus on wisdom of men.
Yeah.
That'd be enough.
Yeah.
Because if the men get right, then the women will get right.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it all starts in, like, even understanding the principle behind, whatever your belief system is. If you believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you believe in Christ. If you actually believe in those things, understanding that the world is lost because of Adam, not because of Eve, right? If you actually understand that principle, the world didn't change when Eve bit the apple. The world changed when Adam bit the apple.
Yeah.
So as men change and grow and learn and love, women will become better.
Yeah.
Right?
Men got to learn how to tell a woman no.
Yeah. It's hard, bro. I don't even want to get into my principles behind that. Why I think he bit that apple.
He just told her no.
I don't even want to get why I think he bit that apple, but man. Lord. If Eve was anything like these women in Decatur, boy. Ooh, the Lord have mercy.
Yeah, hard to say no.
Hard to say no.
Like that said, sometimes you got to tell them no.
Lord have mercy. If she wanted sundress women wearing,
man, she had on oak leaves.
Yeah. But she ain't have on nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Because they was naked. They didn't know they were.
Yeah, they didn't know they were naked.
Spirits. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, they didn't know they were naked. But when he bit the apple, he was like, "Oh, brace."
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me stop being silly, man. But yeah, man, I can appreciate that though. Just getting back on track, getting back on the conversation. But I can appreciate that. Just that part of understanding that money is not your priority, your reasoning for anything that you do. Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Yeah. I get that. I understand. I get that. Let's go with this one. I like this question. How do you balance ambition and entrepreneurship with your responsibility?
Mm, balancing ambition and entrepreneurship. But that's interesting. So I don't think that they are necessarily one in the same kind of spectrum.
It's a twofold question.
It feels like it's a convoluted question, but ambition. Here's what I would say about ambition. I'm gonna talk about them separately, but here's what I would say about ambition. Ambition to me is your desires, things that you want to do.
Right.
As a man, it will be beneficial to learn how to prioritize those ambitions.
Okay.
What I see with a lot of people, but specifically since we're talking about men, is they have all these things that they want to do and they never prioritize any of them.
Yeah.
And therefore they don't get any of them done.
Right.
So then you move into this feeling of unfulfilled gratification.
Yeah. Got all the greatest ideas in the world.
But you never
ain't done a damn thing.
Ain't done nothing, right? So now you just become one of those talking people that got all these opinions about stuff.
Yeah.
But what have you built?
Yeah.
But if you were to prioritize your ambitions and just finish the first one, finish the second one, complete the first one, get to some completion and execution, then you'll be one of the greatest men in the world. Yeah. Just simply because you finished what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah.
And my grandmother gave me a book when I was in my 20s. As a Man Thinketh. And that's one of the principles in that book that it talks about the most. Just doing what you say you're going to do, like, and actually completing the task and going all the way through with. And I struggled with that for a while, in my late teens and my 20s, and because I was trying to feel my way through life as well too. I had just had my son. I had a son when I was 20 years old. My life was in, disarray, and man, it's a whole nother story I'm gonna get into along the way in the podcast. But just being the kind of man that, doing what you say you're gonna do it's not hard, but it's not easy either.
Neither one of those is important.
Yeah.
Whether it's hard or whether it's difficult, once a man, if your word is your bond, once you say you're going to do something, you simply got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Here's the reason why, because when you don't, you lose credibility.
Yeah.
And when you lose credibility, people start believing in you. People start wanting to partner with you. People start wanting to do stuff with you. So then you find out, nobody wants to help me. No, it ain't that they didn't want to help you. When they were trying to help you, you start going left. When you say you're going to go right. And nobody want to be going around your
if you're going to go right, you got to keep going right.
You got to keep going right.
Yeah.
You can't, that's playing with other people's emotions. You can play with your own by yourself.
Yeah.
So you'll lose support.
Yeah.
And you probably have seen that.
I've seen it.
With all the stuff that you do. When you stick to
stick to the plan.
Then
stick to the plan, stick to the blueprint, stick to the plan. Yeah.
So that goes into entrepreneurship, right? Yeah. So with entrepreneurship, that's a big journey. Ambition, plays into it, like wanting to do for myself and wanting to have a successful business, wanting to grow and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But even that, what am I going to do it with? So figuring that out, being fluid, being able to make adjustments along the way. I'm not selling the same stuff I used to sell 5-10 years ago. I'm not doing the same thing I was doing 5-10 years ago because I adjust with the climate.
Yeah.
And then really deciding who I want to be. So for me, what I share with brothers is like, if you just simply can think about where you want to be, who you want to be 5 years from now.
Yeah.
If you could actually take some time to think about that, that will help you out a lot. Because if you look at that and you say, I don't want to be where I am 5 years from now, then where do you want to be?
Yeah, where do you
But to be able to define that is very difficult for people.
Yeah.
Because looking ahead beyond their current state of affairs, especially if it's tumultuous, it's very difficult to see hope or see a bright light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. That goes back to what you said earlier about being able to see your future from where you stand, right? I mean, I get it.
But so now, balancing that is really just the easiest way for me to balance is to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Learn to say no.
Yeah.
Even to myself.
That's one of the hardest things.
Like, not to other people, to myself. Like, I want to do this. Does it fit? No, I got to say no.
Yeah. that's one of the hardest things. Just having just general conversation with my friends and family, with just men around. Like that's one of the hardest things for men to say. It's no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until like a couple years ago. Like it's because, and I think that comes from the providing and protecting part.
Yeah, the providing, protecting. We generally are charitable. We'll help if we really can help because we got it to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives us a sense of pride when we can help, when I can do something for you.
Yeah, the sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Or being able to provide something for somebody fulfills those endorphins for a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it make you feel like
a man.
Yeah. It make you feel like a man. Like I was able to help. I was able to do. I was able to accomplish. I was able to assist. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. Yeah. Yeah, that's I'll let you off the hook for the last part of that question because the answer that you gave was so deep.
Okay.
Right. So the other entrepreneurship part.
Yeah.
That was deep. I think I did have one more. I had another question I wanted to ask you, man. Shoot, which one was I forgot what question it was. Here we go. Oh shoot. Here we go. How has your view on manhood changed over the years?
Oh, drastically.
Yeah. Just simply, I'm saying what manhood looks like to you. Like, how has that changed?
It's changed drastically.
Yeah.
It's changed drastically.
Yeah.
And I would say the reason why is because I had to unlearn what I thought manhood was like.
Yeah.
Right. So it changed, time changed. We're in a different era.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, all I knew was what I saw.
Right.
From my dad to the uncles to the bosses to the coaches. They're a different breed of man than now today.
Yeah.
But still, the essence of man is the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think now what's before. See, okay. So what happened? I say is this, especially for my community, my race of people.
How old are you? Let me ask you that.
45.
You're 45. Okay. All right. So
if you think about going through slavery, racism, all of that stuff, those men never went to therapy.
Yeah.
There was never no talk of mental health.
Yeah.
Right now, as we're talking, June is Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
So there's a more awareness of the mental health. Now, why is mental health so important? Because men are generally speaking are logic-based people. So when your mind ain't right, you're not thinking logically. You can't make logical decisions.
I say that all the time.
So before where you just ball it in, whatever going on, go to work, provide, cool. That's not being a real man to me. A real man to me now is about self-expression.
Yeah.
But hopefully in a constructive way.
Let me interrupt you real quick, and I'll let you finish. I don't use the word real man. I don't use that phrase real man because real to me insinuates that it's some artificial something going on in there somewhere, right?
Gotcha.
A man is a man because of his chromosomes.
Right.
A woman is a woman, same thing.
Right.
So, and the reason why I don't use it is because it's been manipulated into something else.
Right. I can find a better word. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and I'm not trying to change you. I'm saying I don't use the phrase real man or real man because every time I've heard it up until this point in my life, 53 years, it was something derogatory.
Right. I use mature man. Right.
Let's go.
I think as you mature, you learn how to express yourself.
Let's
in a
go.
way that is constructive versus destructive. You're going to express yourself. It's going to come out.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, good, bad, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of will it come out in a constructive way.
Yeah.
And I think as you mature, you learn how to do that.
Yeah. And I think that's the vital part of it as well too. Like maturity comes in stages.
Right.
As well too. Like the maturity that you experience in your 20s, you know, and the experience the maturity you experience in your 30s, like it all comes, you begin to see the world in a different light because of maturity. Like what I understand now at 53, like I'm gonna give you a small example. I watched the Cosby Show now. Man, them were some of the most entitled children. Them Cosby kids.
Yeah.
The Huxtables, man. But that's how like my brother and my sister, like we were the same way.
Right.
We grew up upper middle class kids. We were the exact same way, but looking at them now and with my mature eyes, I'm like, man, I'm mom and dad, I'm sorry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. I used to say some dumb stuff. I used to do some dumb stuff. So the graduation of maturity is the reference that I'm speaking of, right?
Right.
So understanding what that part means from a man's perspective of what maturity looks like and what manhood looks like at this portion of your life. Because I'm sure at 45, your level of understanding and maturity even sometimes baffles you sometimes for you to be able to understand certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it does baffle me. Sometimes I'll say, I don't know how I know the things that I know, but I just know.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of watching, a lot of listening, a lot of experiencing, and I just yeah. But to come back to your question, my view now, I think going through enough things in life, I realize that everyone shouldn't have access to.
That's a jewel right there.
Everyone shouldn't have access.
That's a jewel. Everybody shouldn't have access to you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an earned experience.
Yeah.
Not a given.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be the product of those who I hang around with.
Yeah.
So if I'm hanging around with people that's not trying to grow, they can't help me grow. I can help them grow quite possibly.
Yeah.
But I started thinking about my circle. I started thinking about who's in my ear, what I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm being more meticulous, I'm paying more attention.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware. That's a big thing, becoming more aware of yourself, your surroundings, what you're feeding yourself, what you're allowing. That all plays a role in who you become, who you are becoming.
Yeah.
So I'm just more like, I don't have time, as you get older, you don't have time for, certain things.
Yeah, because if your circle, your circle of friends or people you hang out with, if they aren't pouring into you as you pour into them, it's pretty much just suction.
Right.
You pretty much just like being sucked out of you, even though they may be benefiting because you're giving them the fruits. Like, what are you getting?
Right.
Like, what fruits are you gaining from, being in concert with them?
Right.
So I get that 100%. And I think in most cases, men have sets of friends, right? I think we have friends that we know making moves that we are probably less accountable to.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I got you.
So then we have those hangout buddies that we, smoke a cigar with, have some whiskey, that accountability probably is a little freer with. Right? And what I mean freer with, like, you may be honest about something going on in your home because the environment is relaxed.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You're in a,
Yeah, you're more free to share.
You're more free to share, right? And then you have, and it may just be one or two of these friends where this guy or girl,
confidants.
You can be the hangout guy, and the business, on point person with this guy, and these people are you have more accountability to them,
Right.
more vulnerability to them.
Yeah.
And you get more done. You can mirror yourself with that group of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can mirror. You can say, man, you can look back and say, okay, I'm behind. Okay, that was a good move. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I got that gym from him. I got a jewel from him. But I think most men, we have like 3 groups of friends. I think we have, not necessarily a whole, just one. I mean, yeah, I'm sure most men got a best friend. I'm sure of that.
Mm-hmm.
Got one guy they're cool with. But I think, and it's just my perspective. Maybe because that's how I live my life.
Right.
I could just be talking about myself right now. So, but anyway, let's move on. Tell me something. Where you from, man?
Decatur, West Greater. You don't know, you better ask somebody.
I just wanted to do a check-in real quick.
Okay, now.
I just wanted to do a check-in and make sure you was gonna represent that.
Oh, hey.
Represent the East Side. That's right. What has Decatur done for you, man? What kind of, how has Decatur shaped you as a man?
Wow. Oh. Good, bad, and ugly?
Yeah, give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. If it's no bad, don't.
No, so it's culture, man, and it shaped me good, bad, and ugly. Yeah. From a standpoint of recognizing like what the culture has done, not just to me, but just generally speaking. Yeah. And then from me being the type of man I am, okay, well, what can I do to change that culture? Yeah. So for me, I was I went to private school before I went to Southwest Cab or public school. Okay. So coming from a private school, I was way ahead. Yeah. Was it a shock to you when you got to the West? Well, I went to Rainbow and all that stuff. Okay. But okay. But just still the culture. Yeah. So this was shocking. What's shocking to me, culture-wise, Decatur-wise, is that there's much more applause if you play an instrument or you play football. Yeah. Than if you get straight A's. Yeah. I mean. So I was the straight A guy. Yeah. And I was still always, as a boy, looking for people to be proud of me. Yeah. But in order to be cool or to be accepted, I don't know if it's true or not. Just no. Then it's more like I'm doing the scholastic stuff. Yeah. But all the cheering that's taking place over there. Yeah. Yeah. So learning to be okay with silence or boredom or whatever that word is, that took a long time. Yeah. And I still don't like it. Yeah. Because we talk about what we value, but we don't show it in our action. And that's part of society itself, right? So how it helped me though is that I'm in a space where not too many look like me, nor are as young as me. Yeah. So, but it helped me to get comfortable with being the only. Yeah. Because I might just be the only. Yeah. Yeah. And I got to be okay with that. Yeah. And still know that I'm walking in the path that I'm supposed to walk in, and I'm still willing to help whoever, wants to get into this space, wants to learn about this space. So it's a twofold. Yeah. And then that moving that forward, that moved me into certified financial educator. Developing my teaching skills, communication skills. And expressing myself in a way that can be indirect or direct, depending on the listener. Yeah, because expression, I've actually sat in on some of your lives when you were reading your books and reading the Bible and stuff like that. So, expression ain't a problem. No, I'm going to express myself. Yeah. Give you the same liberty that you got. You got the liberty to express yourself. I got the liberty to express myself. That's right.
That's right. And I'm gonna answer that question for myself, right? From like what Decatur did for me as well, too, right? And I think because there's this stigma behind recognizing an area that you're from, right? It's almost considered arrogant, or what is even the significance behind it, right? But I think acknowledging how it shaped you, how it grew your mind, or how it taught you lessons is a valuable part of being a man, right? So I'm originally from St. Louis, but my dad got transferred down here when I was in like third grade, right? So we actually moved to this side of town. Like I grew up in the 80s. The side of town that we on right now, it was all white.
Yeah.
When I got it was all white. And them white people took off like that when all these black middle class, these guys started getting these jobs at GM and Ford, and they was able to buy homes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The white folks started getting out of there. And but what it showed me, what I was able to grasp from it was community, right? I was able to see, different homes, like my friends in different homes, like the neighborhood I grew up in, 90% of my friends' mom and dad were together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they came up with 2-parent homes. So we was like, yeah, I'm scared of his daddy. And I'm scared of his mama, because his daddy don't play about his mama. You know what I'm saying? Right. So there was this sense of community in the neighborhood that I grew up in, that shaped my thinking in the way I even govern my relationship with my friends and things like that, because they had more substance to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the main thing that I got from Decatur was community and family. That's what I got. Like that's why I am the way that I am today. Because it wasn't a whole lot of foolishness going on, number one. Like, I mean, you get your knuckleheads here and there, but like it just wasn't a whole lot of foolishness going on when we were growing up in the 80s and the 90s.
It's definitely declined.
Yeah.
As leadership declines, so goes the rest of the nation.
And I think that's one of the things that I suffer with the most, that's most disheartening to me. I feel like I dropped the ball somewhere, right? I feel like I didn't do enough of my part to keep the community thriving.
Yeah, I think that's
too much responsibility to assume.
I believe so.
Yeah,
because the community is made up of the individual.
Yeah.
So if the other individuals in the community didn't hold up their end of the bargain for their family, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then now the community is a collective of those families.
Yeah.
So if you got one that's doing their part, but you got 9 that's not doing their part, more than likely the rest of the community gonna lean towards the 9.
Yeah. And I'd agree. So I don't wear it like that. I don't beat myself up about it.
I think you just simply saying you would want to do more.
Yeah.
That's a valiant space to be.
Yeah.
That's why you got a podcast now. You wanting to do more.
Yeah.
But the burden of doing everything, that's one of the greatest lessons I learned probably last year.
That's my problem.
It was last year. That was one of those, what you call it, moments.
Oh yeah, grown ass man moments.
Yeah. I had I learned that last year. Like I was doing everything.
Yeah.
If you're doing everything, you don't allow other people to pick up the ball.
That's one of my biggest problems. Like I don't necessarily trust people to handle business or handle things the way I think they should be handled. Right. Especially if it's something that God gave me, a vision that God gave me, man, just get in line. Like, let me tell you what to do. Because it's going to work out the way God gave it to me, not the way you see it working out.
That's just another development of your leadership.
You know what I'm saying? So to prevent those fights and those arguments with people, I just do it on my own. I just do it by myself. You know,
Okay.
And that's not good. I know, E. I know. Like it's not good, but that's just
when you put someone in a position, let them mess up.
Yeah.
Then you can correct it.
But here's the hard part about that. Here's the hard part. When they mess up. Their mess up is never on them.
Right.
It's on me.
Exactly.
Right.
So then you'll know to limit their responsibility. So I'm just saying, some people all they need to do is blow up the balloon. And then put them all out. That's but they might be the best balloon blower upper in the world.
Yeah.
But if you try to have them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's wasn't there, you know what I mean? But when you limit it on resources,
Yeah. I got you. I just that's just one thing I struggle with. I do. And that's just a notch. That's one of those bad notches in my belt as a leader. Like I do a terrible job of assessing help.
I would agree.
I do a terrible job of assessing help.
And I would say that you probably have more help than you know that you have, that you recognize, that you identify.
Yeah, I've been burned.
Of course.
I've been burned so many times that I'm like, man, I just do it myself.
You big dummy? Yeah, I got you.
I'll just do it myself. And if it takes me longer to do it by myself, then I'll do it by myself.
Yeah, well,
right.
But you'll grow out of that.
Yeah, and eventually I will. I can say today, right now, I'm not there. I'm not there, right? Today, I'm still, like, even with the podcast, like, I did all this myself. Like, I put everything together myself. I came up with, the premises behind it. Like, now, no, let me not take credit for that. Like, I did have some help. Like, my girl did help. She did give me a lot of help. She helped me with my website. She helped me establish a lot of the things that I'm putting forward now. So let me not take credit, all the credit.
There you go.
Right.
Throwing it right before our eyes.
Yeah. Let me not take all the credit for it. But
no, sometimes you do establish the thing. You establishing the thing, that's okay. But when you're talking about the expansion of a thing, it's not okay.
Yeah.
Get started, your Forrest Gump, he started running. Then they started running with him.
Yeah.
But they never would have started running with him if he never started running.
Yeah, if he never started running.
So you might get the computer, you might, I got this idea, boom, 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 but other people are putting your life to help you refine those ideas.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're all a work in progress, brother. It's all good.
I'm working on it. I did.
As long as you identify it, that's the start. Are you identified?
Yeah.
It's not like you're ignorant to it. Like you don't.
Well, that's one of the things like you can only fix a problem by recognizing it first.
Yeah.
Like you can't fix it if you don't know you got a problem.
Right.
So I live by those principles. That principle itself. I did want to ask another question before we get out of here, man.
Okay.
What legacies are you trying to build? Just not financially, but as a man.
Legacy. Legacy for me would be a school.
A school?
Yeah. It'd be a school. It'd be a school to carry forth, teaching about money, money concepts. So,
would you say closer to Umar, like Dr. Umar, or something different? Because he's got.
Mine would be closer. I'm not gonna say whether it would be closer to his or not, but I would be more into Dennis Kimbrough.
Yeah.
All of the studies and along with the techniques and the strategies.
He's got some good books too. Yeah.
So I would probably go Napoleon Hill,
Yeah.
Dennis Kimbrough, Oliver Mandino style.
Yeah, you turned
the
me
University
on
of Success and stuff.
You turned me on to Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
Yeah. You turned me on. I was actually working in Columbus at the time. This was probably 2017 and 18. I used to commute from Decatur. I used to commute from Decatur to Columbus. It was only an hour drive. But I think I had caught you reading his book. You were one morning, because I used to watch you in the mornings, when you would read your books or whatever. Like, I've been riding with you.
Okay.
I've been riding with you. So you were actually reading Napoleon Hill, and that I was like, man, it's a good book. So I wind up getting it on audio, and I was just listening to it on the way to work, on the way back home from work. Like, it's a damn good book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dennis Kimbrough. Dennis Kimbrough actually lives in this area.
Yeah, I see him running.
Yeah, he be running up and down the street all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, but guess how long he been doing it?
He probably been doing that for 20 years.
Let me tell you something. When I first graduated from high school, I said I had my son, and so I had to get a job. I had to work, right? So I was working in the barbershop right over here off Flat Shoals Parkway in the plaza.
Mm-hmm.
He used to come in there. This was 1992.
Wow.
He used to come in there and get his hair cut. And that's when he started running. I mean, well, that's not when he started running, but that's when I saw him. When I first realized who Dennis Kimbrough was. And then years later, I was like, oh, that's Kimbrough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the maturity part, like, years later, I was like, man, that's Mr. Kimbrough or Dr. Kimbrough that was running up and down Western Chapel for years, and he's been doing it for 20, 30 years.
Yeah. Health as well.
For 30, I know, man, at least 30.
And look how good he look at whatever age.
Yeah, man. He looked good, too. Yeah, he looked real good. Yeah. I can appreciate that. Yeah.
But yeah, that would probably be that's the biggest legacy.
Yeah.
Because it'll be an institution. I consider myself a godfather in the community, so it'll be an institution for kids.
Yeah.
To teach them what maybe their parents are unable to teach them. Yeah, that'd be my biggest legacy contribution I want to make, is to leave the school for the next generation and the generations to come.
The Evan Jefferson Academy.
I wouldn't call it that, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the Evan Jefferson Academy. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Man, we're going to wrap up on the legacy question, man. First of all, man, let me just say, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for responding to my call, because you could have said, no, man, I ain't messing with you like that. But I appreciate you being open, being honest, being transparent, and talking about things that's close to your heart, sharing those things with us that's close to your heart. With me, is where I got a little bit better understanding of who you are, even though I've known you. We've been in the same circle for 10 years at least.
Yeah.
Right. So I got a little bit better understanding of who you are as a person and as a man, most importantly. So I appreciate you coming through and sitting down on the podcast, me and Let's Chop It Up, because I think we chopped it up today. I think we were able to have a real conversation. That's one of my tags, right? Real conversation, real listening, real life.
And we need more of it, brother.
Yeah.
Need more of it. Men are able to, even if they are not the ones speaking, but they'll listen and hear that real men are having, or men are having authentic, genuine conversations about man stuff. Yeah. That can help any man in the world. Yeah. And they should be able to, we should actually be able to, help young men as well, too. I think that's vitally important, helping young men. Because I'm worried about my daughters, man. I'm worried. I don't know if they're going to, Lord Jesus. Like I said, I don't want them to,
if they never get married, if they don't get married, that's cool. Like I'm not pressuring them or saying like I'm ready to be a grandfather or whatever. I'm just saying like I'm worried about, them being able to find suitable helpmates.
You really just want them to make wise decisions, brother. That's it.
Yeah.
It's suitable out there.
Yeah.
There's the good, the bad, and ugly. And as long as they're able to use their intuition, their insight, the lessons they learn from you and beyond, at the end of the day, more than likely you just want them to make wise decisions.
Yeah.
And that'll make you a proud father.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to agree with that. I have to agree with that. I'm
don't bring no knucklehead.
Yeah. Please don't bring no knucklehead. Please. Ooh. That's the last thing I want to deal with. But man, again, thank you, man, for coming through. Yes, I appreciate the opportunity, man. I appreciate sitting down and talking to you. One thing that I like to do, I like to always share with men, and I think we're gonna do enough, is I want to tell you, man, I love you, man.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well, sir.
All right. This has been Me and Let's Chop It Up podcast. I'm your host, Double D. Check in with us next week. I'm still trying to develop my next guest, but man, this was a great conversation. I really appreciate Evan sitting down, sharing this information with him, and I hope everybody listening got something from it. They learned something from it, and they were able to take something with them for the rest of their lives with them with you as well too, man. So, thanks again. This has been great. Catch you next time.